Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so potential buyers have more information about the seller and the business to help them make a buying decision. Before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of the business. It is an Amazon KDP business created in May of 2015 in the romance niche. The average monthly revenue for the business is $29,910 and it makes an average of $9,958 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale are a KDP account with over 150 books, an ACX account with 15 audiobooks, an Amazon Author Central account, primary domains and all site content and files, so there are 4 domains, the ghostwriter contacts, social media pages, so there are Facebook pages and groups and a BookBub account, 11 email lists of collectively over 45,000 subscribers, book files and covers, audiobook files and covers, a book clicker account, Booksprout account, and Story Origin account. So for everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 58156 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So that's a brief overview of the business for sale. Let's hear from the seller with me today. So welcome to the show, Stephen. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well, and absolutely. So I'm looking forward to learning more about you and your business. So to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, for sure. So, I've always been into learning about online businesses. It was always my dream kind of thing. So even back in high school, I was studying this kind of stuff, more into the eCommerce drop shipping game. So I did start a drop shipping store, I guess that was like 10 years ago with my dad, and that went well. And then I went to university, got into business school. So I kind of took a pause off that and let him continue on with that. And then, I went through business school, still really into online marketing, but I was more focused on going through school and getting my degree. Got my degree, got my job, all that kind of stuff, but I wasn't happy in my job. It was a good job, but I wasn't happy with it. The 9 to 5 didn't really resonate with me at all. So then I just started looking for ideas again, like online business, what's new, what's changed in 5 years kind of thing. And I was just kind of scrolling one day, saw somebody on my Facebook feed talking about Kindle publishing. I think he was on a podcast and I was just kind of listening to more about it. And then I kind of heard the guy that he learned from. So there was a course. I bought the course, took that, bought another course, went all in on that, hired a coach, went all in on that. And then end of 2015, that was when my KDP journey started. And then ever since then, I've just been studying, learning, obsessing, mastering, went all in, lots of ups and downs, been a great journey. Now here I am.
Wow, that's really awesome. So you made a lot of decisions. It seems like you made the decision to go from e-commerce to, I guess, maybe a digital form of e-commerce, you could call it, but just not staying in the drop shipping realm. I know it's pretty common for people to go from drop shipping to, say, Amazon FBA, but it seems like you went to the digital product side. Yeah, what was your thought behind that?
Yeah, but I also do FBA as well, so other businesses too. And I guess I was doing the Kindle, and I'm like, well, if I'm doing the Kindle like this and this successful, why can't I do FBA, right? So I did the same thing. 2018, I quit my job because I was making more from Kindle than my job. And then ever since I quit my job, I had the time to put more into it, put more money into Kindle and scale it. So I should have mentioned that earlier. And then I studied FBA and did the same thing. And now I'm into a whole bunch of different things outside of e-commerce. So it's an interesting world. Amazon's very interesting. It's very unique opportunity where the sky really is the limit on where you can take it. So
you mentioned you have a lot of opportunities, right? You're doing a lot of different things. So why are you deciding to sell this business now instead of keeping it and growing it?
Yeah, so I asked that question to myself all the time. And I think it's just, I enjoy it. I don't hate it or anything. I've been in it for 5 years. It's super successful now. And I want to focus more on other things and kind of expand that way. And I think I'm just been doing it too long. I'm kind of tired of it, basically, and just free up my time more to do other things and pass it on to somebody that's just as passionate as I was on taking the business and growing it even further.
Yeah, that's a very common something I hear often with those who have a lot of ideas for building things that eventually, like, they've built the thing and eventually there's an endpoint somewhere where it's either they grow it, which is different from building the thing, or they sell it. So I'm hearing that here as well.
Yeah, 100%. So
got it. Cool. Yes, it definitely looks like you're doing a lot of things right with this business. So what's something you learned from building this that just seemed to work?
I would say really it's a process that the business model itself works. And then there's a whole bunch of processes in the business model that works. And if you study this model correctly and apply the things and execute them the way you should, and you're persistent and passionate and you're hungry for success, it's pretty much, you can't fail really. So, I mean, the process works. It's just, you just have to be hungry to grow it more, I guess.
Yeah, and you mentioned something about having a coach as well, which I thought was interesting because I don't hear a lot about that mentioned. You might be the second person I've heard say that. Would you say that was pretty instrumental as far as your success in the business?
Yeah, 100%. I would say the coach was the most important thing that I did. The course is one thing and you get your fundamentals and all that. The coach is where you want to go. So if the coach has what you want at that, and the process is proven, the model is proven, the process is proven, and the coach has done everything that you want to do, at that point, I was willing to pay whatever the coach wanted to learn everything the coach knew. So I had multiple coaches, but it was 100% worth my time and money. And I would do it again all over again. And anything I do, that's what I look to. I look for somebody that's where I want to go and I pay them whatever they want, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Sorry, I took us off topic on that for a second. So bringing us back, so you mentioned some really great things that worked. And was there anything, though, that you tried during this journey that didn't work out so well?
Yeah, I would say when I first started, I would say more hungry than I should have been, meaning I wanted to go too fast before I actually mastered the process. So I got things going, things were working, and all of a sudden I wanted to 10x it. So I was doing 10 of the same things with 10 different pen names or brands or whatever. And so the focus was very diluted. So that being said, if I could go back in time, I would have picked one thing, went all in on that one thing, mastered that. Once I mastered that and automated it completely, then I would move on to the next thing and scale that way.
Yep. That is the temptation, especially when something's working, to just think geometrically. If I had 10 of these, then it would be 10x of this, pretty much.
But then you have 10x problems that you aren't ready to solve because you don't have the team in place to solve.
Yeah, that's a good point. What you're saying is that's where having this system becomes important, is to be able to address those problems that inevitably arise.
Correct. Yeah. So that being said, though, once you master it and you have the system, then you can 10x it, because then you know what you're doing 100% and you have the resources in place to actually 10x it.
Yep, got it. Very cool. So at this stage, it's been 5 years. Can you describe the amount and the type of work that you do on this business for maintenance?
Yeah, so now I have, my main job is really managing people. I do have an active role still in the business, which I believe is the most important role. So it's really deciding, doing the research, just figuring out what is working in this niche, what kind of stories am I going to put out in the future. It's very bird's eye, broad level view. What's trending? Because that's the thing. You got to keep up with the trends. So when the trends change, you got to change with them and put content out that people want, right? So I just make sure that at the top of the funnel, so to speak, it's dialed into what the audience wants and the readers want. And then if that's dialed in, then I push it through. So it's pretty much that. I do formatting here and there. It doesn't take long at all. It takes me maybe 20 minutes a book kind of thing. And that it's really managing personal assistants. It's managing ad managers. It's managing people sending your emails out, managing the writers, your blurbs, covers, designers. So it's really managing people and making sure the deadlines are hit.
Got it. It sounds like it's very systems oriented. So it's something that a new buyer could pick up, just kind of injecting themselves as like within the already functioning system.
Yeah. Like, for example, like the research stuff, like I've never been a writer or anything in my life. I would say I'm fairly a creative person, but I'm not a writer that writes books and all that kind of stuff. So the research part though is because what I'm interested in is what makes money. How does it make money? What's popular, what's popping, what's trending. And that's the most important part. And that's something that whether you're good at writing or not, you can easily pick up on. And that's what I would definitely show any potential buyer that wanted to buy this business. I would show how I do the research kind of thing.
Yep.
And then how to plop it through the system, right? Yeah, I guess as a buyer, you do want to know how the process works and be taken through that. So you know the people that are doing things for you, you know what they're doing and if they're doing a good job or not.
Yep. Well said. So if you were to continue this business and grow it, the maintenance part is set. If you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you would try to grow it?
Yeah, so I really think sky is the limit. I think I could maybe double it in 12 to 24 months. That being said, it's not guaranteed. It could go the other way around too, but I'm kind of just scratching the surface really. And, if I wanted to get into audiobooks, I could pretty much put all my money making titles on audio. And that's another whole beast. It's another whole business model that would have to be studied and done properly. But if that was the case, because I know people that are doing that, and you set up the funnels in place that would make it work, then that's a way to really grow it. Another way could be utilizing Amazon advertising, because it's something I don't really do. I do a lot of Facebook ads, but not Amazon advertising. So that's another whole pool of readers that could be reached out to. And Amazon ads work very well because if you dial it in properly, you kind of work the algorithm to your advantage. So that's another whole way to grow it. I do a lot of email marketing, but I could even advance it even more, where I could have specific funnels for specific reasons, for flash sales, free promotions, like all these things that I could do more of and grow it even more to get more readers into the ecosystem. And I would say other than that, it's a business that grows over time. So I would continue scaling on the brands that I have by adding more high quality books to them, plus everything I just mentioned. And to take it even further, now once systems are in place and everything's ready to go, you could even scale further by building new brands. So sky's the limit. You can build as many as you want. You just got to get the right team in place to keep expanding.
Yeah, I did see that it's active and very sizable email list. So it definitely seems like that was a big part of the business. And as you mentioned, an opportunity for growth.
Yeah. And to add to that too, if I don't sell, I just did launch a new brand that's brand new, just launched in November of 2021. And I believe that brand is going to double my sales. So it's very early in the process. It's like basically all the expenses are paid up front for that brand. And it just launched in November. So not a lot of revenue has come in yet to make up for that. But I feel like it has a lot of potential.
Awesome. And of course, with all of these opportunities comes some form of risk. So what do you think are the biggest risks with this business or business model that a buyer should be aware of?
I would say the risk is small, but it happens. I've seen it happen. But it pretty much, if Amazon changes anything, if they change their terms of service that you don't know about, or if they change the way they interpret the terms of service, stuff like that, things can happen. Glitches can happen. It's Amazon. You're playing in their sandbox. So you kind of got to do what they say kind of thing. So really, it's just Amazon changing their algorithm where things don't work anymore. So you have to adapt, or you get terminated for something you didn't do. I guess you would call it a glitch, or, something by mistake, stuff like that. So it's very rare, but it does happen and it is a risk.
Yeah. And really any Amazon seller, whether it's Amazon FBA or KDP or merch, they know that if you're playing in Amazon space, then you are subject to their terms of service. So yeah, that's a risk that's shared amongst all of those business models within that ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Okay, so a few housekeeping questions at the end of this. How much support are you willing to offer buyers?
So I have on the listing 6 Skype calls for an hour each, and then 45 days of email support. But depending on the buyer and how knowledgeable they are in the KDP space, like my goal is that if I sell this business, I want to hand it off to somebody that is going to absolutely crush it. I don't want to see somebody buy this from me and then not be successful. So my goal is to basically make sure the buyer's as successful as they can be and give them all the information and guidance that they need to maintain what I'm doing and potentially grow it. So it's kind of I have it, what I have on the listing, but I'm willing to talk about that depending on the buyer. So negotiate out of that if needed.
Yep. Perfect. And would you commit to a non-compete?
Yeah, I would. Okay.
And are you open to something like an earnout?
So preferably I prefer cash up front. That's really what I want out of this. Anything can happen. I just don't really like earnouts. But that being said, I wouldn't turn away people like that. I'm willing to listen to any offer that anybody has. So if it is an earnout, depending on what the earnout was or what the terms was or how much upfront would be part of that deal, I would listen to any offer anybody has. But my preference is 100% cash up.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, something to potentially discuss with any interested buyers. Sounds good. Okay. And last 2 questions. Putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
Well, I think reading in general doesn't go away and romance readers don't go away. It's one of the biggest markets out there and it's growing. So I would say romance is the biggest fiction market on the platform right now, I believe. It's the fastest growing one. And readers just can't get enough of it. They keep wanting more and more and more, and they'll read everything they can possibly get their hands on. So that being said, romance readers aren't going away anywhere. And the only thing that changes is Amazon and getting in front of those romance readers. So the techniques and strategies of getting your brand in front of them may change, but you just got to adapt with it. But the market itself is growing. It's healthy. It's not going anywhere. So that's what I really love about it because, just got to get my stuff in front of them and find new and creative ways to do it and adapt. So,
yeah, well said. And we've definitely talked about a lot of opportunities here, a lot about the business. But is there anything you'd like to add that you think I might have missed during the interview?
Yeah, also for the opportunities part. So there's 2 things I missed that I'm not doing. So one of them is paperback books. It's not a huge opportunity, but it is something. It could be added revenue to the brands. It also makes the listings look better, more authoritative. It might help the listing convert better. So paperback books is an opportunity. And then the German market is also a big opportunity. Amazon Germany is growing. I think it's the 2nd fastest growing market other than the US, UK. If I was to continue running this business or an opportunity for the buyer, it would be getting into the German market and translating books into German.
Awesome. Definitely some strong opportunities there. Well, I think that's the perfect spot to wrap this up here. So, Stephen, thank you so much for sharing your story and joining us on today's episode. And I hope your business is purchased in the near future and by the right buyer.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 58156. And if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.